Hello, YouTubers. Let's light today's candles here. Ideally without knocking anything over, as that's always a possibility here. Joe Kersey here on February 2nd. Yeah, Groundhog Day. I never understood all the bullshit about Groundhog Day. Seems to me just a bunch of nonsense. 2017 at 16:10 in the afternoon Eastern Time. Today as a backdrop we have looking up into the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. Now this is not the original St. Paul's Cathedral in London, of course. It's the one that was rebuilt, or the one that was built after the original St. Paul's burnt down during the Great Fire of London in 1666. You can read all about it in Daniel Defoe. Among other things. And of course you can always read Robinson Crusoe and Daniel Defoe. But that's looking right up almost in the center of the cupola there. Christopher Wren designed St. Paul's, as he designed so many other churches of that time, that late 17th century time in England. I don't find that style of architecture appealing to me. Now, having said that, I do like many elements of the Baroque. I really do. I just don't like a lot of Christopher Wren's stuff. I think Christopher Wren was one of these guys that when he was designing a building, he said, "I'm Christopher Wren. I'm going to make it look like a Christopher Wren building." Well, this one sure does. I always call these things Christopher Wren uglies, as in like, oh, that's another Christopher Wren ugly. I know. Once again, I'm in the minority here. I'm in the minority. Anyway, it's a very beautiful dome inside. And if you go there, and I encourage you to go there because it's, it's a magnificent piece of, it's a magnificent place of Christian worship. Go up to the very east end and behind the high altar, and see the memorial to all of the airmen that were lost in the various air battles of World War II. Because they have blue stained glass behind it, and the light comes in, you have this blue light coming into memorial, where you can see all of the names that were lost in World War II in the air wars. At least on the Allied side. Excuse me. Now, St. Paul's Cathedral, London. Too bad the first one burnt down. Too bad they didn't rebuild it in the original style, but they didn't. Okay. Now, today, since we've got our candles burning, after I refilled my Zippo lighter, this notebook of haiku is perhaps an overly trite device and mechanism here for videos. But nonetheless, you know, a lot of truth is in these little notebooks and jottings. Let's just run through a few of them, shall we not? Or shan't we? Buzz. This is called a mother's estate high tea. Sister screwing you. Brother-in-law helping her. Watch your fucking back. That's pretty much self-explanatory there. My mother carefully devised her estate such that all of her money was held in joint accounts. All of her money except that which was required to pay death taxes. I want to emphasize that again. All of the money except that required to pay death taxes was held in joint accounts with my sister, such that when my mother died, my sister would get that money instantaneously. The residual paid for the death taxes, which amounted to a little over $300,000, and left about $11,000 each then for my sister and myself. Meaning I got 11, she got 11. No, she got 11 in addition to her 430-some thousand that she got. No, I'm sorry, her 860-some thousand that she got. Thanks, Mom. Now, I don't know, I honestly can't say to this day how much connivance my sister and my brother-in-law had in engineering this. You know, my mother was fully capable of figuring it out on her own, I can assure you. But in any case, despite the fact that her will said that it was all supposed to be 50-50, the way she had it set up belied all of that. That's enough, okay. I don't need it. It made somebody happy at the time, clearly, didn't it? And now we have a New South, meaning the New South, marital haiku. Now, the New South is a phrase that's gone out of use now. But in the late 80s and early 1990s, the New South was a phrase used for northern yuppies that moved down to the Carolinas and northern Alabama and northern Georgia, to live in the South. Hence the New South. And of course, the South was becoming less bigoted and racist and open to, different ways of life at that time. And so that's what I meant by the New South. So a New South marital haiku. These are all true, by the way. And, put the dogs and kids away on some of these things, guys, because I'm going to be using some real language that adults use about real emotions and thoughts. New South marital haiku. Angry yuppie cunt. Chopping off most of dogwood. Still pissed at husband. What happened that day was, actually one of those arguments among a married couple that clearly had started months before over facts that had not been well established, if established at all, months before. And over demands made and demands not met months before. And certainly resulted in anger on the wife's part. Well, this woman was very good at anger anyway. I spent a lot of time around her over the years. She'd get self-righteous and angry at the drop of a hat. Fuck, I mean, hell, didn't have to be a drop of a hat. It's the breath of a wind off a butterfly from China drifting over to the Carolinas. Well, she knew her husband really liked this dogwood tree out front, and it was in bloom at the time, you know, with the beautiful flowers with the little, you know, red things that are supposed to represent the blood of Christ, you know, on the petals. She went out there and started breaking these limbs off. And then she started beating the rest of the tree with these broken off limbs, you know, trying to knock off all the blossoms. And then her husband came out and she started running after him and whacking at him with a branch. So I guess she was indeed still pissed at her husband. A vignette from the New South in the early 1990s. Actually, it's probably more like the mid-1990s, come to think of it. Strange. An operating room haiku. Organs in the pan. Blood splashing on my face. Where's my wet rag? Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. Excuse me. In terms of organs in the pan, I remember, this was when I was an anesthesia resident at Ohio State. We had, you know, one of these transplant surgeon guys. We had a living related donor going on, you know, having his kidney harvested in the next room. And then we were doing the anesthesia for the recipient. And I won't give you this guy's name. He's probably dead now, so I probably could, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, our surgeon, the transplant surgeon, went over to the donor surgeon's room next door, immediately next door. You know, you went right through the sub-sterile room and got this. We didn't put the kidney in the pan, though, as it says here. The organ was not in the pan. Turns out the organ was in this guy's hand, and he dropped it. It slithered out of his hand, and he dropped it onto the floor as he came into room 1. You know, well, we always did the transplants in room 1. Dead silence. It couldn't have happened to a nicer guy, because this guy was one of the biggest horse's asses in the universe at Ohio State University at that time. He went on to become chairman of surgery at I want to say Union College in New York. Anyway, so he dropped this kidney. And of course, you know, what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up and you're going to put it in the recipient, aren't you? Yeah. The guy never turned a hair. The guy did great. I mean, you know, kidney worked. The graft took, no rejection, did great. So God smiled on this arrogant motherfucker. As he often seems to do. Does he? Only at the end of time will we know. And now on a more upbeat, or as my mother would say, happy note, let's talk about happy things. That was always one of her favorite little things. Yeah, to avoid talking about reality, okay. But anyway, today, my son was out when I was sort of on this haiku kick, and He wrote 3 and left them in my notebook here. I will read them to you. Notice I didn't say share them with you. I will read them to you. This one's called A Day at Dad's. Sitting here at Dad's. The beer is very good, man. The genetics rule. Boy, that's the truth, too. When you see the 3 of us together, Thomas and Carter and myself. Next one, Dad's house. Medical speeches. Cells, bacteria. Oh, yeah. Bach on the speakers. You got to have Bach on the speakers. I may have to go turn some of that on. I don't think even YouTube could copyright violate that. Flag you for it. Yeah, they'd get you for the particular version that you're playing. Thanks, YouTube. And the third one, Dad's house too. I love my dad, man. My dad's house, man. Oh, the good times roll. Well, he did that. He wrote that on the 16th of November, 2003. And of course, that was my mother's birthday. And that was the day I met Paul. Well, not that year, but that was the, 16 November. My mother was born November 16th, 1910. I met Paul November 16th, 1980. And I'll read you one more, and I'm not going to expatiate on this next one. Advent, etc., 2003. Excuse me. At start, Word made flesh. Now our sin will not kill us. Christ will come again. Guess we've been a bit all over the place today, haven't we? Bye-bye, YouTube.